How's it going out there? Thank you for stopping by and listening to what I have to say. Today I'm by myself. Thought it'd be an interesting story to tell. I was supposed to have Justin Credible on my podcast. Some of y'all don't know who he is. Actually, most of y'all don't know who he is unless you follow wrestling. I've been watching wrestling for probably about 36 years. And a guy named Justin Credible wrestled in the WWF when it was WWF, and he's also wrestled in ECW, and then he wrestled when it was WWE. He was ECW champion. He's a well known wrestler in the wrestling world. And as some of y'all know, I used to wrestle independently around Texas for about 7 or 8 years. My wrestling name was Chris Croning. Started here in Houston and then wrestled, Victoria, Beaumont, San Antonio, stuff like that. And you get tired of the politics of wrestling, and I pursued a career in law enforcement, so I went that direction. I still have a lot of friends who are involved in wrestling. Chris Marvel down in San Antonio has an excellent wrestling school, hybrid wrestling, and I know some of the guys: Sammy Guevara, Keith Lee, Ricky Starks, couple names, which they're doing well for themselves. And so anyway, the point is that I have a history in the wrestling world. It ain't just I'm not just a mark as they call it. For those who don't know what a mark is, it's just a guy who um, watches wrestling and is a fan of wrestling. I've actually was involved behind the scenes in the actual wrestling world. Anyway, so that's why I wanted to bring Justin Credible onto my podcast. On his Twitter, he always posts that he's available for podcasts. So I messaged him maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I didn't get a response. No big deal. People were busy. People got things going on. So he posts another, or he tweets basically that he is available for podcasts. So I messaged that, I comment on that tweet and said, "Hey, I sent you a message." So he immediately sends me a message when I'm in New Orleans last week, and he says, "Hey, sorry, I just got this. Yeah, I'm available. My rate is $60. Basically, anytime you're ready, anytime you're available, I can do it." So I said, "Cool, $60. That's really not that much money, especially if I'm just trying to get this podcast up and running with some somewhat relatively entertaining content." And he immediately asked me for the money, and he says he needs money for food and gasoline until his social clears, which would be the first. This was probably the 24th or 25th. So that was a little off-putting for me. I don't really like people asking me for money, but at the same time, I was thinking, well, I'm going to do the podcast with him anyway. Might as well just pay him now. I didn't really think much of it. Kind of felt bad that the dude needs money that bad, but to each their own. I don't want to judge him for that. So the whole day was kind of bothering me. I was like, it's I really don't like how guys you used to look up to are begging you for money online, on Twitter. So he gives me his phone number and says that, anything I need. So cool. I give him some dates that uh, some days that I'll be available. And so he's like, cool, just let me know. So as the days go by, I kind of am doing my research. I wanted to ask him a little bit more in-depth questions with his past in wrestling and stuff like that. And I come up with these podcasts, Maven Huffman, who used to wrestle in WWE, Stevie Richards, who used to wrestle in WWE, both amazing guys. They have both good podcasts, by the way. And I'm watching their podcasts, and they're talking about how Justin Credible is scamming. his fans, scamming promoters, and I'm like, "Whoa." So I look at this other kinda like a little video, 10, 15 minutes of, pinfalls and pixels, all the times that he's been scamming people. So I was like, "Man," um, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Plus my interaction with him online was like, "Man, that's exactly like it feels like is happening." So, it's kinda, I slept on it a little bit and told my wife. I said, "I really don't even feel like doing the podcast with him anymore because once I realized what kind of person he was, um, really don't have nothing for him. As a police officer, we don't really like dealing with shady people. It's evident that's what he is. He's shady, scammer." So my wife's like, "Well, what if he's changed? What if he actually wants to do the podcast?" So I sent him a message and, said, "Hey, I'll be available tomorrow. Let me know how that works for you." And, so no response. Next day comes. Said, "Hey, I sent you a text message." I hit him up on Twitter. "Hey, I sent you a text message." Shows he read it and, got no response from him. So I don't really have anything for, Just Incredible. He hasn't changed, from the 3 months ago when they made those documentaries and those podcasts on him. So anyway, did he scam me? I I needed content is what I needed, and he gave me content. The guy's, he's a piece of shit. I mean, you go and claim so badly you need all this money, but then when it's time to hold your end of the bargain, you're nowhere to be found. And that's, I sent him a message basically. You have a lot different energy when you need food and gas, um, but apparently, you need the money more than I do. So, um, it is what it is. But for those looking to do a podcast was just incredible. Good luck to you. Maybe he'll do it for you. Uh, but he was unable to, hold his end of the bargain for me. So um, he'll always be a piece of shit. Wasn't even, you know, he's just a legend in wrestling. I didn't really care for his wrestling style. He's more of a hardcore wrestler, but I just thought he would have had some pretty cool insight on the 90s, 2000s wrestling. But apparently he's, whatever's going on in his life, he's never going to um, get my support. So I just wanted to stop and tell you what's going on. So if you see him on Twitter or anything, just understand that I have the text messages, I have the proof. He'll blow your phone up. Here's my PayPal. Here's this. Send it here. Did you send it yet? Hey, did you send it yet? And it's just like, he's got a lot of energy when he needs that money. But then once he gets that money, he's nowhere to be found. So, it is what it is. But, um, you know, what can you do about it? So, if you have any comments, cool. If you think I got scammed, I mean, $60, $60, not a big deal. I order Uber Eats and spend more than that. So, anyway, that's the Nothing Burger podcast for today. Um, Gonna work out what we're gonna be doing next, or what I'm gonna be doing next. Who am I gonna be interviewing? Any top 5 list. Um, Maybe I could do a top 5 off the fly here wrestlers um, of all time. Um, Not in any particular order, but I got Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, mm, probably John Cena, just because what he's done for the business, and Hulk Hogan. Um, Cena's not really an athletic wrestler like Bryan and Jericho. Those guys can wrestle. Those guys can go all day in their sleep with their eyes closed. John Cena doesn't bring that, but what he does bring is a lot of energy. Very charismatic, good on the microphone. And I went to a wrestling show one time. It was a house show here in Houston, and all the kids had the headbands on, the armbands, the shirts, and they were there for about 2.5 hours. They were just having a good time, but you could just tell they just were waiting on one person. And once his music hit, John Cena's music hit, gosh, the energy was like electrifying in there. It really was. Everybody jumped up, just felt this energy, and I that he won my respect at that point. John Cena, Hulk Hogan, of course, he put wrestling on the map. I don't care what anybody says about him. Uh, he's the goat. So anyway, that's my little tidbit on wrestling, and I'm always been a Kurt Angle fan. I'm not a big Jericho fan as far as personally. I don't really like his politics and all that, but he is a uh, wrestling icon. The dude can wrestle. He's good on the mic. To me, he's a ring general. And then Daniel Bryan, of course, also very awesome. Anyway, so that's on the fly. I haven't really wrote it down. That it could be in one of those orders. I think Hogan's number one for me anyway. But anyway, if you like wrestling, you like random stuff, subscribe to the Nothing Burger podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe. All right. Have a good one.